been worse. That's good. That's good. This next gentleman, truly an innovator in comedy. This is a guy who's not afraid to take risks. As he always brings a high energy set to the stage. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Jordan Holmes.
Oh man, give it up for Marcos one more time. I like Marcus. He looks to me like what would happen if Metallica fucked a hobbit. Like, that's exactly what he looks like in my brain. Like, that's just what's going on there. I woke up this morning with the same hope that I have for every morning, which is to walk out into my living room, turn on my TV, and hear one of those morning news show ladies, one of those very pretty ladies, just say, Kim Kardashian died today in a tragic, somebody set her on fire on purpose accident. Kim Kardashian is the best example of why there is no God and why we desperately need one. Because we need somebody to save us from ourselves. We can't stop watching her. And I'm not talking about your Christian, merciful God. I want Old Testament Yahweh. I want the God who acts like every rapper says they do. This happened on the way here, actually. You ever get into that two-lane traffic where you're driving and you're stuck behind this guy who's going 5 miles below the speed limit and you're just hating his guts the whole time, and then you see that window in the other lane and you shoot out in front of him? I did that, and what was in my heart at the time was just, ah, like that. That was it. It wasn't towards him. It wasn't like malicious. I wasn't trying to hurt him. That's just how I celebrate, apparently. And then I had to slow down immediately. It was traffic. It was stupid. What I'm saying is I've never celebrated more and accomplished less in my entire life. Take that with you. Lower your standards. If you get yourself a cup of coffee without spilling, just just like that every time. Or if you poop before you shower instead of the other way around, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's the way we should live our lives. I actually got dumped recently. I got dumped. I got dumped via text message on Christmas Day. It was like she called me up the week before and she was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, crushing loneliness. And she was like, you got that last year. But I did learn something from her. I learned something about myself, which is that I want to be good at sex. And I don't think that's an unusual feeling. But the reason, I don't want to be good at sex because I want to have a more fulfilling life or I want to be more desirable to a potential date. I realized that I want to be good at sex for a very specific reason. And that's because when my parents had sex and then conceived me and then gave birth to me, they forgot to do that next part where you love your child. And I realized that the main reason I want to be good at sex is also the same reason that I wanted to be good at football and baseball when I was in high school, and that is to make my dad proud. That's a really disconcerting thought. That's not something that you should think ever. I want to, and this is what's just in my head, I want to make a girl have such a huge orgasm she cannot walk afterwards. Because maybe my dad will walk in and give me the high five I never got when I was growing up. So what I'm saying is, if any of you are going to sleep with me after the show, somewhere in the back of my head is just going to be, this one's for you, Dad. That's horrifying. You're welcome. You can't leave without knowing that now. There's somebody like me out there. Sorry. I'm also a manic depressive. I don't know if any of the jokes I've told already have proved that. I'm a manic depressive, and the strange thing about being a manic depressive is, well, it's not strange, but I have to go see a psychiatrist to get my medication. And my psychiatrist is one of those guys who's just really, really buff. Clearly goes to the gym a lot, but he's only buff from the waist up. Just one of those guys who doesn't do leg day. Just nope, don't do leg day. Don't like legs, don't like people with legs. Only date women in wheelchairs. But Favorite things, favorite food. Favorite food, chicken breast. Favorite animal, snakes. Favorite person, Josh Chuboff. If you were offended by that, it's okay. I'm a manic depressive. It's like my brain doesn't have legs. But I take medication for it. And my medication has side effects like all medications. The only difference is my medication side effects are auditory hallucinations. So it's literally like, hey, do you have wild, uncontrollable mood swings? Would hearing voices help? And the answer is yes. Because before I was like, I'm depressed. And now I'm like, I have friends! Hooray! People are talking to me! The first time I went to see my psychiatrist, it was terrible. Because you have to give him your whole backstory, you have to tell him all of your symptoms, you have to go from start to finish, and it's a huge emotional situation. And my psychiatrist let me finish, and then just looked at me and was just like, have you considered you might just be a pussy? I did not like that at all. That was not very nice. One of the problems I have dating, though, is my body is literally fighting a civil war right now. And it is clearly the North versus the South. And like my brain will be like, hey, let's go out and meet a girl, and then maybe we'll go out on a date, and maybe it'll be great. And then my dick's like, touch me. And that's a very difficult way to go through life. It's gotten so bad, I've had to rename this whole area General Robert E. Lee. Because it's clearly the way better strategist. But that makes it really hard to date black women. Because of the slavery. I did that joke on Tuesday, and a very drunk girl aptly summed up my entire act when she screamed out, yeah, it's like dicks in history or whatever. Nailed it. That's my bio. That's going on there. Whenever I tour, they're going to be like, this next guy, he's all about dicks in history. Ugh. I do like history. I like learning things. I'm kind of dumb, though. And I was doing a show a while ago, and I saw these 4 guys wearing all brown before I went up to do my set, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to make fun of them for looking like they work for UPS. They worked for UPS. Why else would you dress like that? That was insane. Of course they did. But I have smart friends, and I try and learn as much from them as possible. And my smart friends, the problem with smart friends is a lot of the time they're just boring. Like, I'll ask my smart friends a question, I'll be like, hey man, how does gravity work? And I'll be like, oh, see what happens is super large objects create sinkholes in space-time. Oh, by the way, space and time are one thing, not 2 things. And then I'll go to my parents who are religious, and they'll be like, God's love keeps me on this planet, queer bones! Oh, it's so much better. It's so much better. Or I'll talk about traffic. Like, how does traffic actually work? It seems really important to know how that works, and nobody cares. Everybody's just angry all the time. So I'll talk to my smart friends, and they'll be like, oh, see, what happens is the car up front has to slow down a little bit, and that causes the car behind it to slow down a little bit more because of space restrictions. That causes a wave a lot like an ocean wave. And then I'll go to my parents, and they'll be like, it's one old lady at the front! Kill her with knives! Oh, that's so much better. Ah! Every time we should be celebrating like that. My favorite thing, though, my smartest joke that I know how to tell is this one, and this is a brilliant joke. You guys are gonna love this. This is gonna blow your minds. All right. So, according to quantum physics, I've already lost half of you. According to quantum physics, 2 things can never really touch each other. The electrons in my hand and the electrons in this microphone stand actually repel, so at the atomic level they never really touch. That's amazing. That's a fact. That was also the losing defense in my sexual assault trial. Alright guys, thank you very much. That's the time.
for Jordan, everyone.